Hello. So now we're going to do this problem. Joe's Clothes had 12 employees last year. This year, it had 15 employees. What was the percent increase in the workforce over the course of the year? Okay. So now we're going to use the setup that we learned in our previous example. Okay. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to list what we have. Okay. Okay, so we're going to list what is our before value, what is our after value, and what is our X. In this case, Joe's Clothes had 12 employees last year. That's going to be our before value, 12. Okay, our after value is the value this year, which is 15. Okay, and so indeed our unknown is X, and so we'll just leave it with the value X. Okay, and so now we're gonna bring back to mind our proportion for solving this kind of problem. And we recall that it goes like this. The value of interest to us that is after divided by the value of interest to us that is before equals to X over 100. Once we solve this proportion, we're going to interpret it, okay? So here our after value is 15, okay? Our before value is 12. And then, of course, our X is unknown, so we're just going to leave it as X. So that's going to be X over 100. And this is our standard proportion for solving this problem, okay? And I want to remind you that whenever we have two fractions that are equal to each other, if A over B equals C over D, then A times D is equal to B times C, okay? Okay, that's perfect. So in that case, what we see here is that this proportion is going to imply that 15 times 100 equals to 12 times X. And we denote 12 times X merely as writing 12 next to the X. That means 12 times X. Okay. So what is 15 times 100? So let's do that here. Okay. 100 times 15. Okay. So 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 1 is 1. Then I add 0 plus nothing here is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. 5 plus 0 is 5. And I bring down the 1. So it's 1500. Okay? So this means that 1500 is equal to 12x. Now, how do I get the x by itself here? I'm going to divide both sides by 12. Okay? I'm going to divide this side by 12, and I'm going to divide this side by 12. Okay? This goes away, and I'm left with x equals to whatever this is, right? So 1500 divided by 12. Let's do that together. Okay? So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to write down a multiplication table for 12, and then I'm going to carry out the division. But first of all, even before that, I'm going to remind you how we interpret this as a division problem. 1500 divided by 12 can be seen as the division problem. 12 goes into 1500. Okay? Now, to make our multiplication table, all we have to do is repeatedly add 12 to itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Maybe I put that in the wrong place. Make this a little bit lower then. Okay. 8 and 9. Okay. So 12. So this is going to be 12 times n, where this is the n. Obviously, 12 times 1, right, is just 12. If I multiply it by 2, that's the same thing as adding 12 to this. So it'll be 24. If I add 12 to that, I'll get 36. If I add 12 to that, I'll get 48. If I add 12 to that, I'll get 60. Okay. If I add 12 to that, I'll get 72, 84, 96, and 108. Okay. And you can do that by hand each time on the side on a separate sheet of paper. And that way you can One of the things I want all of you to avoid whenever you're doing a division problem is going back and forth between the division and the multiplication. I think a lot of students, whenever they do that, it disrupts the main logic of their thinking, and they tend to have a higher chance of making mistakes. Anyway, so now that we've done this, I'm going to do the division problem. Okay? Okay. So I ask myself first, how many times does 12 go into 1? Of course, it cannot go into 1. How many times does 12 go into 15? Aha. 12 can go into 15 one time. Okay? So that'll be 1. Now, 1 times 12 is 12. Okay? So then 5 minus 2 is 3. 1 minus 1 is 0. I bring down this 0 here. And I ask, how many times does 12 go into 30? Looking at my table, aha, only twice. 2 times 12 is 24. So then I ask, can I take away 4 from 0? I cannot, of course. So I borrow from this 3. This 3 becomes a 2, and this 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 4, aha, that is 6, and then 2 minus 2 is 0. Then I bring down this 0. This becomes a 60. And I ask, how many times does 12 go into 60? It goes in 5 times. And I can see that 5 times 12 is 60. 60 minus 60 is 0. Okay? And I see that my x is 125. And now we're going to go into the interpretation. We recall that the way we set up this proportion in our introductory lecture was that if x is bigger than 100, that corresponds to a percent increase, and the amount of that increase is x minus 100. Okay? So let me write that down here. So our amount of percent increase will be x minus 100. Our x is 125, so it'll be 125 minus 100. Or in other words, just 25. Okay? So the amount of percent increase, 25. Okay? So now we're going to state what the answer to this problem is. So the percent increase in Joe's workforce over the year was 25%. Okay? I hope you all have enjoyed this example, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you.